SQR Podcast, SQR Rosenberg Radio, cracking in another classic podcast. My boy Fly Jones is in the house, ringing in on another, 2019. This is how SQR Podcast is rocking in. Bong, bong, bong. Yo, reach out and touch this right here, my dude. SQR Podcast, SQR Rosenberg, my boy Fly Jones is in the house tonight. Yo, rocking on this instrumental. Why don't you get on this mic and rock this up? What is this?
Oh, that's illegal activity, you know what I'm saying? Plug a hole with no foley. You know what I'm saying? If a nigga talk police, treat a nigga like the delete button. All it take is just
yo, let's just hear the vocals on this rock out for a minute.
Fuck up my function, I'm kissing on something.
Go in.
No money, know how to get it.
Why not?
My witness, a nigga stay pimping.
Don't stop.
And 1 month a nigga blew over $250,000. Be on the fortunes, being so heartless. Going to hell, my soul is scorching. Get profits and portion, liquor endorsements, packed too heavy.
SQR Podcast, SQR Rosenberg Radio, my boy Fly Jones rocking in. Tonight's gonna be an epic podcast, guys. This is how we rocking tonight on exactly everything that we're doing, Chris. This is the first show of 2019, and it is classic with my boy Fly Jones in the house tonight.
Yes, sir. Definitely a pleasure, SQR. Listen, definitely a pleasure. You know what I'm saying? Yes, sir. Give me some of that love you got.
Funny. As you reach out and bless me here, being our first guest for 2019, I gotta say this. I insist that you reach back and grab a Heine from that beautiful,
straight from the fridge.
Conveniently placed and conveniently loaded.
That's right. I'm on it.
And let me pop that open for you because we have everything ready to go here.
I was about to see how we do it. I was going to pop it with my mouth out, you know what I'm saying? Because I ain't see no, you know what I'm saying? But then we go, yes, sir. Let's do it.
Nice. SQR Podcast, SQR Rosenberg here. We're kicking it with my boy Fly Jones. It's an epic podcast.
Yes.
That entry was official, my dude.
How about that? Appreciate it, man.
What's the name of that record?
That's illegal activity, you know what I'm saying? Illegal for life is the conclusion, you know?
SQR Podcast. We're going to rock into an interesting story with my guy here. As you see, he's in total anonymity right now. We're going to find out who he is, crack into his story, and take that walk to where he is right now, what he's doing. However, you know how I normally crack in the show. I take a moment to big up everybody that's has consistently given and been a part of this movement. Take a big moment to give a big shout out to my boy Rob. Thank you so much for holding us on the camera. My big boy for the a big shout out to my boy Lou holding us on the extra RoboCop machine back there looking official. Big shout out to my boy Charles. Thank you so much for hooking us up, boy, holding us down, making sure the videography is muy bueno. And of course, Ellie, who's playing both roles. A great meal and holding us down on the side right now. Thank you so much for being here. Big shout out to you guys for being such an integral part of the SQR Podcast movement. And of course, the audience. It's an intimate night tonight. We only have a special VIP set just because our guest requested nothing but close people in the house. So tonight I want to take a big shout out to give much props out to my boy Maximilius. Thank you so much, Max, for being here. Max is the catalyst for why the guest is even here. So again, my friend, I salute you, Max. Thank you so much, bro. And thank you also for making the aroma in the room so muy bueno. Kicking back. And of course, we're sitting here with my boy, Fly Jones. Thank you so much, bro.
Yes, sir.
Bong, 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 bong. Thank you so much for being here, bro.
How about that, man? Appreciate it.
My God, man, it's an honor to be here with you right now.
Oh, man, you know what I'm saying?
I'm extremely curious to hear your story on your journey.
Well, shit, you know what I'm saying? Shit, when you start when you would just start from just like what you want me to start from the beginning.
You know, it's so funny. You don't even have to start. I'm going to ask you, but before I crack into your story,
that's right.
Let me ask you this: could you share with everybody your Instagram, Facebook, your social media platform where they could reach you?
Yes.
So they could really see that, as they're going through this journey with us, they can log in and see what's going on. Go.
Yes, you can check me out at, Fly Jones 330, you know what I'm saying, on Instagram, you know what I'm saying, check me out on YouTube, Fly Jones -330, you know what I'm saying, check out a couple videos, you know what I'm saying, and Facebook is Fly Jones, you know what I'm saying, and Ski Mask Music, you know what I'm saying, it's all, Facebook, you know what I'm saying, everything is coming.
SQR Podcast, SQR Rosenberg Radio. We're gonna crack into Fly Jones, and as you ended with the area code.
Yes. The 330.
What's the significance of that?
Oh man, that's some real, that's some real personal special shit right there, you know what I'm saying? I mean, cause everybody know a motherfucker that's from 330, you know what I'm saying? Like you won't even know, but I tell you, you know what I'm saying, when I say, 330, and I guarantee you, you know what I mean, you might love a motherfucker. So I'm saying, but everybody know a motherfucker from 330. Like, but before him, I was the special motherfucker from that motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? But, but everybody know the motherfucking, LeBron James, you know what I'm saying? That's my partner, you know what I'm saying? 330, you know what I'm saying?
Okay,
special love
big.
Nigga,
Let's just bring up this Heineken, this green bottle, toast to that.
Yes. So everybody know, you know what I'm saying? So, I come from the city, you know what I'm saying? So everybody know it now, the city of LeBron James, you know what I'm saying? So it's it's a bunch of motherfuckers that run through that city, you know what I'm saying? That's,
So what you call home.
Yes,
So SQR Podcast, SQR Rosenberg Radio, this is what we do here. We dissect our guests. Why? Because I'm curious about your journey.
That's right.
And when you said, well, where do you want me to start? You don't even have to start, because I'm going to take you on this walk with me.
That's what I'm talking about.
So as we crack into my boy, Fly Jones, what was it like growing up, my dude? Let me ask you this. You grew up in Cleveland.
Well, I grew up in Akron, you know what I'm saying, which is AK, you know what I'm saying? That's what everybody call it, you know what I'm saying? I grew up in AK type shit, you know what I'm saying? And
Where in AK, to be specific?
Oh, East Side. I'm an East Side nigga. Yeah, all day, you know what I'm saying? East Side.
What was the family makeup like growing up?
Oh, the family makeup of my shit?
Yeah,
oh,
dude. Yeah,
man.
Shit.
You gotta understand, I come from a different era, so you know what I'm saying? So my family, makeup was a little different, you know what I'm saying? I was raised by my grandmother, you know what I'm saying? So, by being raised by my grandmother, you know what I'm saying? Because, my family had shit to do, you know what I'm saying? My mom and my pops had shit to do. So, the most stable person, you know what I'm saying, to step in the picture was my grandmother, you know what I'm saying?
I respect that. Fly Jones, can I slow you down and poke even more?
Yes, sir.
Because here's what we do on this podcast. We entertain, educate, and we encourage.
Yes.
And through your story, there's somebody out there who's watching this, number one, fascinated that you're wearing a mask. And we're going to get to that later.
Yes, sir.
They're also fascinated by the music they just heard coming in, because the energy's right, the vocals are tight.
Type shit.
You follow what I'm saying? This is not a dude trying to do this. This is a dude who's doing this.
That's right.
So as I walk you through your journey, I want him to understand you came from the bottom.
Type shit.
So forgive me for poking or getting macro as we go through this conversation. SQR Podcast, SQR Rosenberg. We're going to sit here with my boy, Fly Jones. So let's go back to the east side of Akron.
Type shit, yeah.
How many brothers, how many sisters? Tell me about mom and dad.
Now, that's why I said, like, the dynamics of my family was a little different, you know what I'm saying? So
there had to be an entry into this world, my dude.
Yeah, I got four brothers, you know what I'm saying, on my mom's side.
Okay.
But we got all different dads, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Then on my dad's side, I got three, you know what I'm saying, well, two other siblings now, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's three of us on my dad's side and four from my mom's side. So to me, it's seven. I got seven siblings.
Yeah, you do have seven siblings.
Yeah,
okay.
7 siblings, you know what I'm saying?
Where do you fall in the list of those 7 kids? First, second, third?
With my dad's kids, it's crazy, you know what I'm saying? Because this nigga keep on, he don't want to stop. This nigga trip, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm the oldest of this nigga's kids, you know what I'm saying? So, but my mom kids, you know what I'm saying? I'm the second, you know what I'm saying? I'm in the middle, you know what I'm saying? I got a little brother, and then, you know what I'm saying? Then I got 2 older brothers type shit, you know what I'm saying?
No, I respect you for being so vulnerable. And as I said before, on the podcast, our guests are really entertained and educated by the struggles and the wins and losses of the guest. And when they share, it's like, wow, I can do it too.
Type shit.
So as we navigated it, so growing up, you said your mom and dad had shit to do, for the lack of a better term.
Damn, some real type shit, you know what I'm saying? I grew up with different parents, you know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up, in the era, you know what I'm saying, where, at the time, you know what I'm saying, it was bank robbers, it was pimps, it was hoes, it was trafficking, you know what I'm saying, all type of...
That's the environment you grew up in?
Environment, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm saying I come from that era, you know what I'm saying, of the breeding of it, you know what I'm saying? So, which one was you in that era of breeding kids at the time, you know what I'm saying? And, a lot of part of my family, you know what I'm saying, was bank robbers and pimps and hoes type shit, you know?
Let me ask you this. How are you able to... Because I'm trying to go back to the age, and when you're telling me that, it sounds like a movie like I saw, where this little boy is running around in this neighborhood on the east side, and everybody's moving, doing their illegal stuff. So, do you remember a specific moment when you realized that there were bank robbers and pimps and hoes. Was there an iconic moment back then?
No, but it was like, you know what I'm saying, as you know, when I used to go visit Pops and shit, you know what I'm saying, it was always like a movie presence, you know what I'm saying, like the feeling of something big, you know what I'm saying, like, so,
no way.
I mean, just, you know, when you're around big shit, you feel it, you know what I'm saying, so it was like a, you know, even as a little kid, you know what I'm saying, we had everything, so it was like being around big shit, you know what I'm saying, and his friends coming over and, you know what I'm saying, seeing the type of shit, you know what I'm saying, everybody was doing, you know what I'm saying, you know, it was definitely different, yeah, you know.
SQR Podcast, SQR Rosenberg Radio, as we crack into Fly Jones' story. We're going to take a quick break, come back, and get the transition up through the east side
type shit
of Akron.
My journey.
Yeah, that journey,
yes,
and so he can entertain you on where he is and educate you on his struggle and encourage you through his struggle. SQR Podcast, SQR Rosenberg Radio. Be back after these messages. One.
For like the conclusion. Yeah. Listen, Jones. Illegal for life, the conclusion. Man, I figured it out, man. That's what it's about. Yes, I did. I figured this shit out. It's about love and money, nigga. Conclusion. Street life. I realize I love money, nigga. Yeah.
1,000 miles and I'm running. Gotta keep the pistol on me. Plug a hole with no slow leak. If a nigga talk police, treat a nigga like a delete button. All it take is just one key. I'm in traffic and let it fuck up my function. I'm chasing on something, plotting no money, know how to get it. My hoes and my witness, a nigga stay pimping.
That's happening. That, you know, didn't happen.
Okay, go in on this. Here we go. Come on.
Yeah.
SQR Podcast, SQR Rosenberg, Fly Jones.
Yeah, drop top in the winter. When the phone trip, gotta pick up. Got a squad full of some hitters. When them birds fly, we don't miss them. Now pick up the pack, move that shit. Pick up the pack, move that shit.
SQR Podcast, SQR Rosenberg Podcast, my boy Fly Jones, as we crack into the second segment of this interesting story.
Move that shit.
My dude.
Move that shit.
What's the name of this joint?
That's you know, pick up the pack and move that shit, you know. Yeah, kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah, it is actually. It is. Yeah, you can't
know
go wrong with that. It's right there.
Like them boxes or, you know, whatever you guys, you know, move it. You know what I'm saying? That's
SQR Podcast, my boy Fly Jones. You know, we're just kicking back here and just really enjoying, you know, your journey, and you know, as we walk through Akron, the east side of Akron.
Yes.
And you know, so funny when you mentioned the family makeup. I want to say it sounded like the extended Black Brady Bunch.
Type shit, you know what I'm saying?
Because father had 4, mama had 3, right? You guys came
No, my mom, you know what I'm saying, all together, you know what I'm saying, my mom, you know what I'm saying, there's 4 of us, there's 4 brothers, you know what I'm saying, and my dad is 3 of us.
So,
yeah.
So you got the 7.
Yeah.
So do you guys ever lived under one roof?
On a under one roof? Nah.
Yeah, no.
See, that's why I made it look like, you know what I'm saying, different for my kids from the shit I went through. You know what I'm saying? I changed a lot different, you know what I'm saying?
Why?
Like, well, you know, because I got different mothers, you know what I'm saying, also, you know what I'm saying, for my kids, but my kids got to be raised under one roof because, I mean, the same thing that happened in my family, you know what I'm saying? You know, I didn't get to, you know, I wasn't raised with my brothers, I wasn't raised with my sisters. I didn't really get to see these motherfuckers until, like, you know what I'm saying, I was grown. But except for my, you know what I'm saying, my brothers and my, you know what I'm saying, on my mom's side, you know what I'm saying, it was a little different. Oh, yeah, matter of fact, I got an older sister on my dad. She, on my dad's side, yeah. She was my older sister, yeah, you know what I'm saying, I forgot her. Her name Dewan. What's up, D?
Yeah,
you know
big shout out to D.
I ain't meet her until I was 21, though. And that's the point, you know what I'm saying, I ain't want my kids to meet each other later on in life, you know what I'm saying, so I kept them motherfuckers together, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really respect you for being, you know, that straight up with us.
Type
so
shit.
as we were walking through Akron, what was high school like for you? Well, let's go back to middle school. Actually, you went to middle school in Akron, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I went in Akron.
And I saw you had a smile on your face underneath that mask.
Yeah, because it was funny, you know what I'm saying? Because at that time, you know, it was like, I'm just getting out of an era, you know what I'm saying? I'm getting out of a, you know what I'm saying? I'm getting out of an era kind of, you know what I'm saying, at that time, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, raised in Akron and, you know what I'm saying, and being back and forth in New York, you know what I'm saying? Like, because, you know, New York is a cultural thing, you know what I'm saying?
It is.
You know,
the movement is
you know,
thick.
And, you know, breakdancing and, you know, popping was coming out, you know, was out in New York type shit, you know what I'm saying? So it was a lot of advanced shit. So every time I went to New York, you know what I'm saying, and came back, you know what I'm saying, at the time, you know what I'm saying, I was like almost like a, you know what I'm saying, a dance, you know what I'm saying, dancing motherfucker.
What was your affiliation to New York from Akron?
Well, you know what I'm saying, my dad and my mom lived in New York, you know what I'm saying, that's
And then grandma lived there.
My grandmother from Akron, Ohio. Well, actually my dad from there, but you know what I'm saying, he moved to New York type shit. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's so funny? And I had to pull this back a little bit. In Jamaica, we said, please rewind. You mentioned that you were raised by your grandmother.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Well, I did. Well, because this is deep. I did 1 year with my dad. You know what I'm saying? I was living with my dad and shit. You know, but you know when parents go through certain shit. You know what I'm saying? Anything can happen. So in the midst of what happened, you know what I'm saying? I got kidnapped. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I got kidnapped. Listen, I did a whole year. I was playing football. You know, I stayed in Queens. I stayed in Rose. I stayed by what's that? I stayed on 229th Street. You know what I'm saying, in Queens, you know what I'm saying, Rosedale, Queens, you know what I'm saying, when I was in 3rd grade. And the crazy thing, my break dance group that I had met, you know what I'm saying, me and them niggas kind of still, I still chop it up with them niggas. A nigga named Ticky, you know what I'm saying, one of the niggas, like, you know what I'm saying, when I came back to New York, you know what I'm saying, I bumped into my nigga, you know what I'm saying.
Okay.
But you know, like
okay, so let me just slow this down, because you're not gonna slip this by me.
Okay, yeah, it's a lot of shit, man. So you know, you can
get
so much out.
Yeah, they call me the Barbara Walters of the streets for a reason. There's a couple things, there are a couple darts that went across the bow that I want to slow down. Let's just pull this back real quick.
Okay.
You lived with a grandma, but before let's go to the grandma's story. You say you got kidnapped.
Right. Well, this, you know what, even give it all the way real, you know what I'm saying, I've been living with my grandmother since I was 3 months, you know what I'm saying, 3 months old, you know what I'm saying, basically, you know what I'm saying.
What's her name?
Her name is Ruby, you know what I'm saying, that was my grandmother.
Yeah, when we're just looking at that big camera right there, just give a big shout out to Ruby.
You know what I'm saying, yeah, but you know, Ruby, but you know what I'm saying, but she passed, you know what I'm saying.
No, let's just R.I.P. to Ruby.
Hey man, that's my love,
because
you know what I'm saying, that's the first woman in my life right there, yeah. Yes, I was brought up off secondary love, you know what I'm saying, and I was raised, you know, well with it, you know what I'm saying. And what I mean by secondary love, like not by, you know, my mom or my dad, you know what I'm saying, not your first. The people that, you know what I'm saying, so, you know.
Was there anything that significant that Ruby told you or taught you that you could reflect on right now at this age?
Man, you know, it's kind of crazy, you know what I'm saying, because she the same lady, you know, that raised my dad, you know what I'm saying, and, you know, for me to be raised by her, you know what I'm saying, and then, you know, be caught up in doing some of the things that my dad did, you know what I'm saying, it's, you know, it's just, you know, it's just weird.
No, I respect that. I respect
what I'm
that.
saying?
Yeah. So, so we give a big shout out to Ruby, who you know, who definitely stepped up and raised you through that whole journey. And so we slowed down, and now the whole kidnap thing. Expound on that.
Yeah. Well, you know, okay, you know what I'm saying.
No, I don't know what you're saying. That's what I'm asking.
You know, I did my whole 3rd grade year, you know what I'm saying, in Queens, you know what I'm saying, in Rosedale, Queens. I went to PS 181, you know what I'm saying, and you know, everything was, you know, it was cool, you know what I'm saying, and then, you know, going into the 4th grade year, you know what I'm saying, you know, I had got a call at my dad's house, you know what I'm saying, you know, my mom, you know what I'm saying, was asking me a couple things, you know what I'm saying, asking me a couple questions and shit, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, what school you at, and, you know what I'm saying, this and with the address, you know what I'm saying, wanted the address, you know what I'm saying, and the next day, you know what I'm saying, in school, you know, not the next day, the first day of school, you know what I'm saying, going to my 4th grade, the first day of school, you know what I'm saying, my mom, she pulled up, you know what I'm saying, in a limo, you know what I'm saying, I had my little brother, you know what I'm saying, my older brother, you know what I'm saying, All my brothers, you know what I'm saying, in the motherfucking limo, you know what I'm saying, and called me. I jumped in the car, you know what I'm saying, and left, you know, not knowing what was going on, you know what I'm saying, but she did, you know, she took me up to Boston, you know what I'm saying, and at this time, hours was going by, didn't go to school, you know what I'm saying, and, you know, at that time, you know, I ain't talked to my dad.
You were literally kidnapped by your mom.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, and I ain't talked to my dad at that time, you know what I'm saying, and at that time, after that, after she sent me to Ohio, because she didn't keep me, she just sent me to Ohio, so after that, I ain't talked to my pops for almost like, I say about a year and a half.
Let me ask you this.
And they kept it a secret and shit. It was crazy.
Wow. The age that this is happening in.
Oh, man.
What age were you?
Shit, I was third grade, you know what I'm saying? Was she in third grade? Like 6, you know, like 7, 8 in third grade? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah, like around there.
SQR Podcast, SQR Rosenberg
8,
Radio.
9? What you in third grade? Like 8, 9, somewhere around there?
Yeah, that's amazing, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Then got sent back to Ohio, you know what I'm saying, and then, you know what I'm saying, that's when I, you know, really put my, you know what I'm saying, my foots in.
Yeah.
You know, but I learned a lot of shit in that year in Queens. You know what I'm saying, I was all at the Roxy's doing break dancing, all type of shit, you know what I'm saying, winning competitions. I was, you know what I'm saying, with a group, you know what I'm saying, so I had, you know, I learned a lot, you know what I'm saying.
Do you think that's where the spark for music?
I believe so. You know what I'm saying?
Looking back now.
Because I look at New York as the mecca of music, you know what I'm saying? Of the rap, you know what I'm saying? The reason why I say the rap, because that's where the shit, you know what I'm saying, a couple niggas came from. So, you know, and for me to grow up in that Queens just that year, you know what I'm saying, I think it really touched me. You know what I'm saying? I really do, you know.
SQR Podcast, SQR Rosenberg. We're digging into Fly Jones' story here. And it's very fascinating that you're being so vulnerable walking us through this journey, because I'm jerking certain memories and you're really going back with me on this.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
you know, because I don't be asked these questions type shit.
Well,
so
I mean, that's what we do here, you know what I
Right.
mean? You know, the mantra of the podcast, as I said, is to educate, entertain, and encourage, and it's through your story.
Yeah.
It's not about something, it's not a test, it's just people hearing some of the wins and some of the losses. So as you're navigating this, and it seems like through those years, it's been a lot of movement. Is there, looking back, and I'm going to close this segment with this question. Looking back, is there anything that you gained from all that tumultuous period? The moving, the unsettlement with mom, living here, living there. Is there anything that you could take away from there to say, yo, I got strength from that?
Yeah. Got an unstoppable drive from that. You know what I mean?
Ooh, what a jewel. You know, on the podcast, when you say something profound, we call it dropping a jewel.
Yes, yeah. That's real shit. Because sometimes
you just dropped a jewel right now, bro.
Yeah. Unstoppable drive. That's what I think. All that, it's like gumbo. All that shit in a pot. You know what I'm saying? You cook and you eat it. You know what I'm saying? It's gas. Keep you going. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at with it. You know what I mean?
SQR Podcast, SQR Rosenberg Radio. We're gonna take a quick break. Come back. Get into the third segment with my boy Fly Jones. Ladies and gentlemen. The look, the knowledge, everything that you're hearing right now, it's just exactly what he said, a gumbo of flavor.
Type shit. You already know.
SQR Podcast, SQR Rosenberg Radio, my boy Fly Jones.
Eastside. You already know.
Everything that I said, I did it. Now everything that I said, I did it. Every nigga I shot, I meant it. Big ties on big ass inches. Pipe wrecks in the kitchen whipping. Inside I'm rapping. Gang niggas, I don't need them. Got 100 up in this chopper. 17 up in this Nina. Nowadays, time where young niggas going on them perks. I'm sitting back strapped up, moving 10 bricks on the first. Shark and ocean, chew these guppy niggas up in his pond. Got a bad hoe that look ground. My pair of left baby line. 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, I'm gone. Got a brick play on my phone. Cash out, green light, I'm on go. Cold game, champagne toast. Cut for me another pole. Big bank backed up, counted, now it's time to count more. You can come get everything. Raw dog and that read. To the dope game, cause it's rap shit I'm going for. So middle finger, fuck the law. Yeah, out of the mud, I crawl. crawl. Unforgiving, that's on everything. Getting that nigga that's involved. Yeah, 10 bands on one
SQR Podcast for Rosenberg Radio, kicking back with my boy Fly Jones. You know, navigating with a lot of stories, and I was really hoping that, you know, that's what's so funny that, you know, behind the scenes when we take that quick little break,
type shit.
You know, the stories that you shares,
yeah,
because you've really lived within a short period. You've experienced some major stuff.
Yes. It's you know, knowledge is, you know what I'm saying, you know, it's crazy, you know what I'm saying. You know, what's that word? Enlightenment, you know what I'm saying? Is what is it like that? And it's like when immediate recognition. I've been hit with immediate recognition so many times. You know what I'm saying? Like so many times, you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
No, and I salute you for being aware of that. So let me ask you this. So you're growing up and you went to high school in Queens.
No. Went to, you know what I'm saying? Went to elementary
school in Queens.
PS 181 type shit.
And you lived on which block in Queens?
229th Street.
There's a lady that you're mentioning that was pretty significant.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Sandra Denton, you know what I'm saying? That was she was a real close person, you know what I'm saying? You know, that was amazing. Yes, Sandra Denton with, you know, Pepper. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And the crazy
Which
thing
is Pepper from Salt and Pepper. Let's get that right.
Yeah, Pepper from Salt and Pepper type shit. Yeah.
So was she like a big sister to you, or?
Man, yeah, for the period of time, yeah, she was, yes, you know what I'm saying. But in my heart, at a young kid, it was so much more. But yeah, she was a big sister. Yeah. For real type shit.
No, I respect the honesty.
Right.
No, I respect the honesty. No,
right,
I respect the honesty. Wow. So the movements, the back and forth, the traveling. Where did you go to high school?
I ended up going to high school, you know what I'm saying, you know, AK type shit.
Oh,
East
wow.
Side, you know what I'm saying, went to East High School, you know what I'm saying.
What was that experience like?
Shit, you know, getting it, you know what I'm saying, getting into, you know what I'm saying, at that time, and like I said, you know, oh man, you know, and you know that one thing had just came to the city, so when that, you know, and going to high school when a new movement is coming, you know what I'm saying, to the world was a struggle for a person at that time, you know what I'm saying, like getting money and starting high school when you start seeing niggas, you know what I'm saying.
But why are you worried about getting money in high school?
Why? Well,
I don't get it.
It was like it was like the time and the era, you know what I'm saying, when something had existed and came and you seeing it, you know what I'm saying, and when you have access, you know what I'm saying, it's
all right. So here's the deal. You lost me there.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, you lost me there.
Okay.
Because you were so vague on what came. So let's just slow this down. What came to town?
Well, you know what I'm saying, I mean, well, it was already in town. But
which is what? What?
I mean, shit, you know what I'm saying, that
crack, dope.
Yeah, that coke. See, you know, New York niggas, you know what I'm saying, this East Coast, dope and coke is two different things. Dope, y'all
heroin.
Yeah, dope is that boy up here, you know what I'm saying, down there we call that's something totally different. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Yeah, but coke, you know what I'm saying, yeah, it was that coke, that, you know what I'm saying, that girl type shit.
Oh, okay. So in high school, you're dealing with this as a part of survival because everybody else is.
Well, you know what I'm saying. Well, it started gradually. You know what I'm saying. As you know what I'm saying, as getting into high school type shit. It started gradually. I say like you know what I'm saying, by my, you know what I'm saying, my 10th grade year, you know what I'm saying, I was, you know what I'm saying, you know, fully active, you know what I'm saying, you know, I was fully active, you know what I'm saying, like sleeping and, you know, living in, you know what I'm saying, and type, you know, them type of houses type shit, you know what I'm saying. Okay. I was active. So, you know. All
right, so I got to slow this down because, you know, you hear a lot of music right now which kind of glorifies that lifestyle. You know what I mean? And you are a man of a certain age, and you have a certain knowledge. If you had to do it over again, would you do it?
Nah, man, you know, truthfully, you know what I'm saying, everything you learn while you exist is just part of what you learn while you exist, you know what I'm saying, and you know, you got to keep that, you know what I'm saying, that's your that's something, you know, that's I mean, that's a special memory for, you know, it's a memory for me, you know what I'm saying, because, you know, it ain't like, you know what I'm saying, everybody else's. So I got a different memory, you know what I'm saying, something different, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, I like a little something different, you know what I mean?
Okay. I appreciate that.
But by knowing the norm and knowing something different, you know what I'm saying?
You have the reference point.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Very.
Which is true, because somebody who's completely oblivious to that lifestyle, you know, really thinks that the world is only one shade of color. So I really appreciate that.
Right.
So was it through this journey that you started honing the music, the rapping, and started really putting all this together?
Well, you know, I mean, music, you know what I'm saying, been in me for a while, you know what I'm saying. You know,
anybody in the family a musician?
Like, no. Like, my shit ain't like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no, you know, ain't like, we the frontier makers, you know what I'm saying? My family is like the frontier makers and whatever it be, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like the first ones to do it, you know what I'm saying? And then we breed it on, you know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying, like, even, you know what I'm saying, even with my, you know, my kids that, you know what I'm saying, I have now, you know what I'm saying, I don't push them, you know what I'm saying, you know, I push them the right way, you know what I'm saying, because I went through so much shit, I guide them the right way, you know what I'm saying.
SQR Podcast, Score Rosenberg, yo, I salute you for saying that. That's another jewel you're stalking by me.
Yeah, that's real.
You know,
shit,
because
you
don't have to. They don't have to duplicate what you went through.
Right? Yeah, it's not. I can't have that. You know what I'm saying? I can't have that.
And I think I'm very fascinated. No, very impressed. Actually, is the word I'm looking for.
No, but for real, can't have that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they're, you know what I'm saying?
No. I respect you for that, because at the end of the day, it seems like, you know, besides one of the takeaway from your journey is the fact that you're now a dedicated father to your kids,
type shit,
and you're doing everything to steer them away into what they should be doing.
Yeah.
SQR Podcast, Score Rosenberg. Before I close, you know, I wanted to get to what's going on right now.
Well, shit, you know, 2019, you know, I think it's going to be an amazing year, you know what I'm saying? The first year, you know what I'm saying, that, you know, Fly Jones, you know what I'm saying, you know, will be on, you know what I'm saying, on all major outlets, you know what I'm saying, all the digital platforms type shit. It's my first year, you know what I'm saying, where I think it's going to change my life to, you know what I'm saying, start, you know, living a better way and a righteous way. I think, you know what I'm saying, 2019 going to be an amazing year, and I'm ready for it, you know what I'm saying? That's what's going on. You know
I really appreciate you putting that energy out there,
yeah.
You know, and I respect you for being so vulnerable on this podcast.
Yes.
You know, you were kind of vague. A lot of, you know,
was I? You know what I'm saying?
No, you were, but you know, but when I poked,
right,
you allowed me to get in.
Okay, yeah, you
and,
know what
and
I'm
I know you still, you know, code of the street.
You know
certain things can't be discussed, but you know, you took me through that journey, and I salute you for that.
Right.
And as I close this podcast, right, because we're gonna have you perform right as we close this. There's a question I asked my guest, and I said, "Listen, the magic wand, and I give it to you. You got 2 wishes. What's your first wish?"
My first wish would, you know, cure autism. You know, that's my first thing.
Why autism?
Because, you know, as you know, me, I got 4 kids. You know what I'm saying? You know, in the midst of having 4 kids, you know, my 4th one's a little different, you know what I'm saying? And I noticed it by the 3 other ones I raised, you know what I'm saying? So when I noticed that it was a little different, you know what I'm saying, which would end up turning out to be autism, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And just bottom line, you know what I'm saying, you know, and that's why I got this one song that's talking about, you know what I'm saying, curing autism with drug money, you know what I'm saying, trying to, you know, invest, you know, money, you know what I'm saying, to cure autism and where it came from, you know. But however, you know what I'm saying, that type shit, you know what I'm saying, but yeah, cure autism be the, you know, the first one, and the second, you know, the second one is shit, you know, wish, wish for, wish for longevity in the empire, you know what I'm saying? For my family to live on for, you know? Yeah.
SQR Podcast, Go Rosenberg Radio. You know, as we crack into 2019, I feel excited about what the year holds for both of us, because it was through the initiation of a very close friend while you're sitting here. Mm-hmm. And it was through setting the environment and the crew and everybody being available for us to dig in on such an interesting podcast as we cracked into 2019. So I salute you.
About that, appreciate
You know what I
it.
mean?
You know what I'm
As we
saying?
get ready to close, SQR Podcast, we're going to wrap up on this wonderful, fascinating podcast. We're going to get this up right away on our SoundCloud, on our YouTube channel. You're going to catch us on Podbean, iTunes, Google Play. I mean, everything is going to be available for you to check this out. As a matter of fact, I can make it easy on you. Google SQR Podcast. I dare you. Stay tuned. We're going to close after this. SQR Podcast, Square Rosenberg Radio 1. Let's go to Heineken.
Yes, sir.
Hey everybody, here you got Domingo Rodriguez, your expert broker advisor, coming up next on SQR Podcast. You're not going to want to miss this one.
For like the conclusion. Listen, Jones. Illegal for like the conclusion. Man, I figured it out, man. That's what it's about. I did. I figured this shit out. It's about love and money, nigga. Conclusion. Street life. I realize I love money, nigga.
1,000 miles and I'm running. Gotta keep the pistol on me. Plug a hole with no slow leak. If a nigga talk police, treat a nigga like a delete button. All it take is just one key. I'm in traffic and let it fuck up my function. I'm chasing on something, plotting no money, know how to get it. My hoes are my witness, a nigga stay pimping. And what a month for nigga blew up $250,000. Big on the fortress, beating so heartless, going to hell, my soul is scorching. Get profits and poor shit, liquor endorsements, packed too heavy. Using the force, like bidding and force. Nigga, you tripping, you better use caution. I've been pushing 600 horses. Trust a bitch, falls like a tosser. Hell no, it ain't no safe place. Spot pack, do my thing. East side, be the gang. My dad, mama, I don't play games. Rob niggas for his inventory. Be aware of my territory. God forgive me, I said I'm sorry. Rock hard in the early morning. I don't pay attention to that bullshit. I sit back and get money. 10, 20s, them hundreds. Jump the pack and get it moving. Illegal for like the conclusion.
Yeah, push bricks, I do it. Pimp bitches, I do it. Kill a snitch, I do it.
Illegal for like the conclusion.
Rob a bank, I do it. Pimp a bitch, I do it. Kill a snitch, I do it.
Illegal for like the conclusion.
Push bricks, I do it. Yeah, pimp bitches, I do it. Kill a snitch, I do it.
Illegal for like the conclusion.
Rob banks, I do it. Kill a snitch, I do it. Rob bank, I do it.
Pistol packing, gotta get it going. 10 mil, got the bullets for it. A tailbone like a Tyrannosaurus. Pin hit like I teleported. White bitch, call her fair faucet. Nose raw, she did too much snorting. Pippa died till I'm in the coffin. Crack house, rocks in the lapa. Swap nigga live in the marshes. Trash bag full of moss. First of the month, I get it off. Cash out, then blow it off. Pimp fluid, dripping sauce. Drop the bitch off on the track. Soon as her ass got in the car. Mastermind, a mechanic. People don't understand it. 2 to 3s that do damage. While I'm backyard in my hammock. I don't pay attention to that bullshit. I sit back and get money. 10, 20 in them hundreds. Dump the pack and get it moving. 4:30 in the morning. On the trap, them hoes choosing. Out moving the pack.